Welcome to Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests bring you insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for soul growth. Come journey with us through astrology's energetic cycles and get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sue Minahan. This is Talk Cosmos, and today is Sunday, well, here where we are, and it is the 28th of September. Our show today is going to be about the whole lunar cycle, starting with the solar eclipse, and we have a lot to say. It'll be lots of fun. It's powerful. Let's get to it. Whoops, I keep banging my thing. Bang, bang, bang. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, we are ready for Kaleidoscope Visions.
Understanding the cosmic energies influencing our consciousness by the 4 major moon phases for the month, this is your Kaleidoscope Visions panel.
I'm Sue Rose Minahan, founder of Talk Cosmos since 2018. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, consultant, speaker, writer, vibrational astrology student, Dwarf Planet University graduate, Kepler Astrology Toastmasters Club charter member. I have a fine arts music degree plus a certificate in jazz. I'm an artist, musician, and certified color energy life coach. Especially, I love mythology and esoteric philosophies.
I'm Amanda Pierce. I'm a soul-centered astrologer, blending intuition into my practice. I believe the universe is always working for our highest good and seek to empower my clients in our readings. I teach a 4-week series of empowerment-based meditation classes that connect you deeper into your own intuition and innate power. I work in communications with a passion for employee experience. I also have a BA in psychology. I'm passionate about healing and enjoy helping others create new realities and shift old paradigms.
And I'm John Chinworth, a Seattle astrologer with more than 25 years experience. I use a blend of evolutionary, traditional, and archetypal techniques and constantly attend workshops and lectures to further hone my skills. I hold an MFA in poetics, an MA in teaching, and an astrological diploma. I've lectured at NORWAC and served on the WSAA board. I have worked in general and special education classrooms, both as a teacher and mentor. I also enjoy reading, penning poems, riding a bike, and going on road trips around the great state of Washington.
And like the Sufi poet Rumi says,
you are the entire ocean in a drop.
Well, hello, and I have the ocean here, so that was intuitive, I guess.
Hello. Good to see you both.
Good to see you guys. Looks like you're really on the beach, Sue.
Yeah, I wish. There. And I put my green thingy behind me because I was wiggling, and yeah, it's working.
Well, you're riding that Neptune energy.
Yes. Well, we are. It is really hanging in there at 29 degrees. I think I was noticing that because we just had a 29-degree solar eclipse, which is about starting our phases off. And of course, they're opposite. Yes, the energy's strong. Well, it's good to see you both, Amanda and John. Yeah. 8 phases, 4 primary, 4 not primary. And we cover the new moon, each quarter, and the full moon. And you can see in these diagrams on the right-hand side, the waning and waxing. Waning is after the full moon, the light is retreating. And when it's waxing, it's like a candle. It's getting broader. Shall I lead on? Yes.
Yes, I like that. I've never heard that candle analogy.
Well, I keep thinking of a candle with wax. I used to save all the wax and make new candles, you know. Yeah, the things you pass up in life, I don't do it anymore. 4 primary phases. So the solar eclipse, aftermath, new times. Really, it's cuts the lights go out, and it can reset it. Activated my chart. I don't know about yours. I think it probably did. So that was a week ago on September 21st at 29.5 degrees Virgo. And in a few days, we'll get that first quarter. We're right in between. Of course, we're still in that season of the eclipse. And it'll be in Capricorn early Capricorn, 7 degrees in 5 minutes. And then the full moon is at Aries. So it moves from mutable to cardinal. I mean,
it's interesting that we've got a new moon, solar eclipse new moon in Virgo at the last degree, 29 degrees Virgo. And then all of the other phases are cardinal initiating energy. So we're closing something out and yet starting something new because it is a solar eclipse new moon. So we'll talk more about that as we go.
Yes, indeed. And I'm glad you brought that up, Amanda, because last month was the 0 degrees new moon in Virgo. So this is quite we're all mentioning it, but how do we experience it? Which, of course, we're going to talk about. But still, I think it's the process that we're involved in. And as you said, endings and beginnings, particularly too, because for 6 months, I've been noticing, which other astrologers might realize, but the moon stays at 1 degree and it's going to go to 28 degrees starting next month for 6 months from after the eclipse. It works like that for 6 months. It's just incredible cycles, Okay, so yes, it'll be in Aries at full moon. Mars will be activating it. And then the last third quarter on October 13th is in its own sign of Cancer. Out of bound planets, about the same as last time. The moon bouncing back and forth. It's actually between the first and third quarter. Hygeia, which is an asteroid of toxicity or healthiness. Yeah, John, you had a thought? No.
Oh, well, Hygeia, I love her. She's a really important goddess to the Greeks because she was the one who maintains health. So they thought she was very important in their culture.
What a great attitude, maintaining health.
Exactly.
Of course, people did die early, thousands of years ago, so I guess health was...
Sure. And it also extends into environment and the home and not just like the physical care of the self.
And just given how interesting our times are right now, Hygeia seems incredibly important. Just maintaining our health. That could be physical health, emotional health, mental health. There's so much to it.
There's so much.
It's in the news all the time.
Yes,
go
there's
ahead,
so much
John.
talk about the healthcare system in our country needs to be looked at, and
what's okay and what's not okay. Who's on this board? Who's on that board? You're right. Panels of doctors are being mentioned frequently. We may not be listening to we're listening to quite a few doctors. If you listen to the
I actually went to a new doctor this week. And, you fill out the intake form and they ask, okay, where are you on levels of stress and anxiety? And, I ticked off a couple boxes and she looked at it and she's like, oh yeah, this is just normal across the board because everybody's feeling it right now. So if we can tap into that healing aspect of Hygeia for ourselves, it's going to help smooth things out a lot.
Yes. And we will find out what sign she is in. I should know that. I've been doing so many different charts. It's not Scorpio.
No, Hygeia just moved into Cancer and it will be in Cancer for the next 5.5 years. So it's about embodying and feeling the health and really tuning to. I think it being in Cancer with Jupiter in Cancer, there's a lot of potential to really, really start feeling stuff that we need to.
This is extraordinary because how we feel is what we manifest, and getting to our pure emotional state is something that's become more evident. I just I'm giving a talk about the importance of aligning to your emotions, knowing your values, because that's how we promote going forward. Woo! 5 years. Thank you, Amanda. Okay. And Pluto. Pluto is out of bounds. I was born with it, but most people these days haven't experienced it. And these are things that it's subtle, but maybe it's not subtle. I think it's really intense.
I have been feeling that intensity, that Pluto out of bounds. Like Pluto is intense already. And this just kind of breaks down the limitations of it. So it can get even more intense.
I've been kind of pulled to deep thinker to go into deeper thought about things. And I have a sense that might be Pluto saying, are you sure that's all you can think about that subject? Is there more you can learn about it, right? Or to get to the bottom of information or what's happening.
I just got chills with you saying that. That totally resonates. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I know I often relate very well with a certain number of Scorpio people. With all my other signs, I've wondered how, well, there's various ways that you can figure out how you do or don't. But yes, that out of bounds Pluto, I think, gives a certain depth of wanting to know why. I can remember asking my mother when I was a little girl, why? And she kept responding, but I kept digging, thinking, well, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Finally, she gave up. It's like, I've had it, kid.
Probably a really good time for detective work. And
investigating.
I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Researching.
Sure.
Well, it's ongoing. It was last month, and we're still into it. The month before that with IGEA, I know. Retrograde, we're also in that season. Uranus and Chiron just joined the team. And so
everybody's retro.
Except for Jupiter. Yep. Right.
That means they're all wearing retro sunglasses and bell bottoms. Just kidding.
Is that pink or yellow? I don't know. Well, the solar eclipse is essentially when Earth is blocking, when the moon is blocking the light from the sun. And this is a partial eclipse. It started down at the ocean, down at the South Pole. It was only 7 of 71. I keep repeating this. And it started in 1917. Yeah. So it has a long ways to go. We're early with this particular one. And a little bit of graphics to show you that's a partial. And it was interesting. I asked to part the new paths, and AI came up with this one. I kind of kept modifying it so we could get some wheat in there because they had other things. But it is very, because the lunar eclipse was in Pisces. So it is, I was thinking of a forest path, but this is really water. Okay. Here we are. And the first chart is always all the aspects and just some information, the date, the time, a little bit about what the solar eclipse would be. You can read that. We do it every month. And the dispositors. Yes, Amanda?
Well, yeah. So solar eclipses, they are about breaking or shifting patterns and shifting into something new. And I would say here's something that you've been dreaming of. They can be karmic turning points where choice meets destiny. So if you've been off track a little bit with what your destiny line is, this is a course correction. Or if you're on the right track, it can be an amplifier. Mm-hmm. So it's going to move things forward in the right direction for us. Either way.
I'm keeping those notes. That's good to reference, I love it. A karmic turning point. It phrases it perfectly because it's a path. And we have, okay, let's lead on. Here we have what the moon and sun are involved with, but they're actually involved. They have quite a few aspects, but they're involved in bigger patterns. And I listed them here. We'll mention them. And
it's really what I noticed. First of all, the eclipse is totally in connection with all parts of the chart. I mean, there are rays going in all directions, right?
Good point. It is.
And equally balanced between easy aspects to Pluto and to Uranus, and the difficult aspects, Saturn, Neptune, and looks like IGEA.
That's a very good point, because unlike later, I don't remember right now if it's third quarter or the full moon, there's really no aspects. It's just very limited. So this is turning the cycle.
I like this 29-degree Virgo moon and sun for kind of creating space for a new order to come in. So this 29 degrees, it's the end of this Virgo cycle, and Virgo is all about cleaning and refining. And so this is like, for the next 6 months, we're going to be kind of cleaning up this space for ourselves to usher in this brand new energy that we're experiencing in 2025. But, you know, with these planetary shifts that are going into new signs, but they are like retrograding back into their previous signs. And it'll be next year when it's fully in that new energy.
That gives a little reprieve, because you can feel pressured thinking, oh, when do I get it done? It's a process.
There's time, and also the universe it's working on our behalf to like bring the experiences and the people that we need in order to start shifting into.
Oh, goody.
I think that it's on the 29th degree, that critical degree, and often things that fall in those degrees are a sign of urgency, because this is the last time it's going to be there for a while. So like really taking care of things and making sure you understand the energies that are happening before you move forward.
Yeah, particularly because Neptune is still going to be opposing that degree.
Yeah.
We do have a yod, and again, that's a focal point planet that is not compatible with the elements or the modality, you know, of two planets in a sextile. You can read about that. And this particular one is with Mars at 29 degrees Libra as the focal point. Sextile with those that are ongoing for a long time, with Saturn, Neptune, that will get back together. They're both going retrograde now, and then they go ahead, and Uranus. So, yeah,
a lot of pressure to take forward steps. That's what this feels like to me with that that Mars start. Now, is it Mars that? It is Mars. It's not Haumea that's in that.
No, well, they're both actually, because look at the 0 degrees and 1 degrees. So Uranus is exact Haumea, but Neptune is approaching, you know, Mars and Neptune are getting together. So it's very within a degree at best. So it's definitely, yes, they're all a rebirth of our spiritual awareness of the moment and acting to it. I always think that's the best, the highest elevation that we can aspire to, because if we have structures breaking down, it's like, what do we have? We have spirit and the greater cosmos. So it's that language.
All these in conjuncts also, they speak to, adjustment and working with something that may not be fully resolved, and being open to other options, and also the processes that other people are going through, especially at this time.
Yeah.
So this is very poignant, all these lines, I think.
It is. And not to, that's a very excellent, always to, instead of expecting something, let it occur. And there's a lot of action here. Venus is activated with Uranus at the moment.
And Mars is, in addition to being in that yod, it's also square Pluto.
Yes.
And so there is, there can be some fear stepping into our own power fully, not wanting to rock the boat. And I think also Mars is opposite Chiron in Aries. And so there is that, like, there is a little bit of discomfort around stepping fully into our authentic selves. But a lot of potential to heal that in this month. And that will play out in the other phases as well. So, yeah, but we're going to start feeling it. We're going to start feeling it at this eclipse point.
Yes, since it is an eclipse, yes, the energy just lingers on. It's very interesting that Mars, for your drive and your actions, is looking at what are my values with Venus, who is quite discerning, trying to choose, okay, let's just get rid of the clutter, as we've said, and clear, see how we can organize.
And Venus is...
Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll say one thing, John, then let you go. Venus is like you said, Sue, the ruler of Mars here, it's also in a mutual reception with Mercury, which means that Mercury is the ruler of Venus and Venus is the ruler of Mercury. So their energies kind of loop back and forth with each other. Mercury is also the ruler of this eclipse because it's in Virgo, its own sign. And so Venus is already playing into this eclipse energy pretty strongly. And we'll see as the month goes, like Venus is a big player here, especially when we get to that third quarter moon. So looking at our values, looking at our relationships.
Yes. Deeply, yes.
Venus and Virgo, it's like what needs to shift and possibly be let go. It depends, you know?
Yeah.
So we're starting to look at that with this eclipse energy.
I always pick up with Mars, Chiron, a wounded warrior kind of aspect, but I'm also thinking, are we willing to stand up for the right thing at this time? And I'm thinking of Venus as a avatar of diplomacy. So, well, and we're seeing things happen. Like, well, do we stand up and say, "Hey, that's not right"? So I wonder.
Yeah,
Chiron as well, healing the collective as well.
Yes, identifying that they're exactly. How do we alchemize? How do we use that to help each other and to strengthen? There's a kite. That's another pattern. There's a flowing energy and it has a focal point. We're going to keep moving here. And that is quite strong. Again, there's a couple of focal points. And didn't you say, Amanda, about relationships? And well, yes, John, Amanda.
Yeah, Venus, I mean, we talked about Venus being prominent this month, and Juno here is another relationship energy. And so it's Juno is opposite Uranus and square, sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing it's still square Venus. So what are the soul contracts that we've made in our relationships that potentially need to shift for us?
Yes, there's so much dynamics here that are connecting. So there's lots of energy happening that's connecting. I think we'll go to the first quarter. We have 5 minutes. John, did you have an urgent? Okay.
It's all good.
Okay. The first quarter moon that we're just bridging towards, it's going to be on the 29th of September. And it's at 7 degrees, 5 minutes. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn in Pisces, which is retrograde. It's still going back, as you had said, retracing all of this energy that had been in for 2.5 years, but it's going to stay. Well, Saturn's not going to stay at that degree. It's moving pretty quick. It's Neptune that's staying at 29 degrees. So anyway, first off, we have another yod. It's that adjustment energy that we've been talking about. Again, Mars is still the ruler in this. It's not giving up. There's a lot of rebirth in the process.
Yeah, with Haumea there, it's Haumea is about creation and the death rebirth cycle, and with Mars and Haumea connected, there is potential for this to be pretty explosive or destructive, even destructive in the sense that it's got to be like ripped down in order
build
for
up.
Yeah,
it is.
Opportunity here with this yod is, so Mars is like, tear it up, war, then you have Maya, no, create the new thing. And then there's Uranus, well, let's create the new idea and the new world. And Saturn, Neptune, build the dream.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
the old way may not be working anymore, and it's time to make a shift.
It is. We do need to realize, as people have said, a renaissance is ahead. But that isn't all roses for everybody. It's making the best, the most creative sense. The world wants us to be creative. Yeah. And there's a lot of action here with so many this is still the quarter moon, the Capricorn. So it's trying to figure out the rules but it's not really, is it? Because Saturn's in Pisces and Neptune's right next to it. So it's a lot of going forward. I'm saying that because of Mars and Aries, but I think we've...
Grand squares they can be high tension aspects. And it's always good to remember to stay as disciplined as possible and be as self-aware as possible. It's really kind of forcing us into action. So this first quarter is all about action, and this is going to get us going if there's anywhere we're stalled out.
And starting to use all that goddess energy, Moon, Ceres, and Hygeia. That's just kind of lovely to me. So there's a softer angle on how to take action rather than barging all over everybody, right?
Well, there is, however, it has a lot to do about strategy. Pallas is a lot about strategy, and Mars and Pluto.
Mars Pallas.
She's really realizing that we need to make a big shift, such as we've been talking about. And in Eris with Chiron, that's inclusivity. So these shifts have to be inclusive because people are feeling exclusive. It's always the dynamic, it seems like.
And with Ceres in Aries, I think what we're looking to address is a deep sense of loss of our authentic selves and not being able to show up fully in the world as ourselves. And what are we going to reclaim? We want to reclaim it. It's retrograde as well. And so this is part of this eclipse process that we're going through, so that when we head into 2026 with the Neptune, Saturn fully in Aries, we're going to be ready to start that work.
Yes, and they start to move there in January, and it'll be February 20th, I think, when they're conjunct, which is really a momentous event. Here we end the first quarter very similar to what the eclipse was, but they're separating a little bit. But it still has so many moving energies that are connecting and trying to go forward, and very beneficial in some ways.
These are all the helpers. And there's a nice, lovely mystic rectangle in the center, which I call a cosmic brick. What do you want to build?
Well, action galore. We're just coming up to this energy, but the eclipse season's hanging for quite a while. I have Amanda Pierce and John Chinworth. This is Kaleidoscope Visions, Talk Cosmos, because our monthly scan of the lunar cycle, which is so dynamic. We'll be right back. Thank you.
While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We are currently in the Yang period of Libra, ruled dually by Venus. By leaving the lower hemisphere of the self, the energy of Libra enters the arena where the completed self meets the other than self to form a relationship based on partnership. As a cardinal air sign on the descendant angle, represented by the equinox of equal light, Libra's energy learns through comparison and relationships, with the intention to integrate duality and polarities.
Talk Cosmos brings insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for the soul growth with hour-long programs. Talk Cosmos weekly programs are also available to watch live on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel and Facebook page. While you're there, make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons so you get the full Talk Cosmos experience. Or if you'd rather listen to the show archives with audio only, the entire podcast collection since 2018 is available on most podcast carriers. And to find out about upcoming programs, sign up for the newsletter at talkcosmos.com. So grab your coffee, tea, or kombucha and enjoy the show.
This is Martha Norwalk. Every Sunday morning, beginning at 9 a.m., thanks in part to newprosupplements.com, we cover the world of animals. This week, October 5th, it's Shelter Rescue Sanctuary and anything that helps our animal friends Sunday. We'll check in with Meow Cat Rescue, Help Animals India, and Animals24-7.org with Merritt and Beth Clifton. Plus, we'll find out about all the great classes and events coming up at the Ananda Institute of Living Yoga. Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
Talk radio that will get you thinking. Alternative Talk 1150.
Yes, indeed. Well, here we have Amanda Pierce at amandamoonastrology@gmail.com and John Chinworth, skypathastro.com and or archerstars@gmail.com. Myself, Sue Minahan, Talk Cosmos. Amazingly, the programs have really focused on the eclipse, which isn't amazing, but they're quite different, each one. We have so you can check these out. And next week is going to be one about the degrees that are coming up, 28, 29. And the equinox, that was a great one about the new vibrations, which is vibrational astrology, and has a whole message for the season, just like this eclipse is too. It's powerful. I'm involved with Wine Country Speakers. We're located partly out of Santa Rosa, California, but there's Canadians and I'm in Hawaii. And we have a free webinar on October 4th. Sign up. It's 2.5 hours. It's free. Speak up, stand out, elevate your influence. I'm talking about the emotional compass so you can shine your light. There's just short little 7 talks, about 10 minutes. And be glad to have you join. Let's talk about the full moon in Aries. That always, the starting point somewhere. I mean, particularly because it's Nizamantisha is just, it's coming from Aries and it's in Virgo, it's in Aries.
Lots of Aries energy. So
Yes.
five planets up there. Let's take some action, maybe.
Yes, and right in the middle, too.
Mars
14
ruling all those
degrees.
planets. So Mars is kind of having some power there.
Yeah, and it's a full moon, which means it's the peak of emotions in Aries. Could be fiery. Could be a spicy moon for people.
I like that, spicy.
The
How
full
bad,
moon is
no.
the full moon is that moment where that's the greatest that the moon will be, because after that point, of course, it'll start to diminish. So at the full moon, I think it's a good thing to say, hey, look at what we have created. So maybe bring a little bit of gratitude in with the moon, with the full moon. Right?
Yeah, I like that. And there's also this the moon in Aries. Like the moon is what we crave. And so craving our individual selves, like who we are as an individual outside of the family sphere, what society thinks we should be, who are we as an individual? And so that's coming forward to be really visible and felt for us.
It's kind of a conundrum, I think, in a sense, listening and realizing too, because I do some studying vibrational astrology, and the moon is the past. It's the light that reflects from the past, meaning it's our memories, it's all of that. And since it's in Aries going forward, as we've been talking about it, again, it's this, we're ready, we're wanting to go forward. And in some ways we are, but it's still taking time, that it's not a full package yet, I think.
Ceres is also right there with the moon. And as Amanda said, there's loss. So this full moon is carrying loss with it. So maybe going into just looking at the losses.
And accepting it on a personal basis. I'm not saying collectively, because there's a lot of collective sorrow and loss that we can't just easily
always with
talk
Ceres, we always talk about how it's the loss because of the whole myth of Persephone, but she regreens the earth.
Yes,
She grows the new world, so she's great in that regard.
she does. And on a sustaining level, too. She
Yes.
teaches how
Ecology.
agriculture.
She is the ecology planet.
I love that all of this Aries energy is ruled by that Mars and Scorpio. Is such a strong placement for Mars, and really gives us that access to dive deep into our shadow work
Mm-hmm.
and like confront some stuff if we've got it there. I mean, we all got our shadow.
And
And so this really helps us do that. And you can see that Mars is square to Pallas. I like that for preventing us from going like too much into the emotion and getting sucked into the emotion. This kind of helps us keep a little bit of healthy detachment while we do this process.
Right.
yes, strategy. We have to refocus. It is a refocus. How do you manage, and particularly in that strong sign of Scorpio that really needs empowerment? What is it that we're, by releasing, is not giving us power, empowerment, to be the full self? It's going to be a big month.
Yeah. Also, Venus is conjunct the South Node, and it conjunct the South Node in the previous phase as well. So 2 phases in a row. We've got Venus conjunct the South Node. So there's some dynamics here that we're really letting go of. And this can be relationships, or it can be something within ourselves, like
Yes.
our relationship with ourselves. What needs to shift? What Virgo pieces need to be cleaned up? Is there any negative self-talk that you need to let go of?
I have been changing my mantra. I now say, I have time. I have time for my priorities, because I have 29 degrees Virgo ascendant. This went smack dab on it. If I keep thinking, I've got too much, because I do gather a lot of activities. So I agree with you on this, Amanda. It is. I also have to listen to you again say that.
It's time to let go of what's
Negative.
not serving
Yeah,
us, like
that's
negative
right.
self-talk. Whatever habits aren't serving us, or it could be relationships that are just not serving us, or something in the relationship that isn't serving us, some type of habit that's been going on. Also, Venus conjunct the South Node, it can bring past relationships back into our lives so that we can either come back together with this person or fully release it and let it go.
Does that resonate for you both? It does for me.
Yeah, and also more on relationships, Juno opposite Uranus. So Juno being the goddess of marriage, right? And she's with Uranus. And how are we going to look at this relationship in a new way? And they're the top of the angel wings, which is that blue cross. And angel wings to me are just the new way of thinking, like flying up to the next level up and having a look around to see how it could be. And the angel wings, Sue Tompkins, I believe. Yeah,
yes.
she based it on the wings of Ganymede, the youth that was taken up to heaven to be the cupbearer of the gods.
Yes. And Juno often these days is referred to as alliances. It is marriage and partnerships, but alliances. And strong ones, so that helps to think about.
And defending your alliances and being true to them. That's Hera Juno.
Yes.
Big parts of all her myths. She's like, keep her promises.
Good point. Well, the third quarter, as we go through this month, now that will be a while from now. That's the 13th of October. And if today's the 28th, it's about 2 weeks away still, because we're just coming out of this eclipse still. And of course, this whole month is strongly affected by it and will ahead. But the light's decreasing. It's going to be in its own sign, domicile as it's called, Cancer, dispositor. So the moon is talking to itself. And I think and it's out of bounds. So it's like, oh my, what stories it's probably going to tell.
The moon had to go on a retreat.
Yeah,
It went out of bounds.
it is. Now, there is I'm trying to look at where it was.
Mm.
Yeah, let's see. There's still a lot of flowing energy, but is it with the moon is quite involved here. The moon is conjunct Jupiter. So it's expanding those emotions, expanding that story, and related with our past, of our daily routine and the health of life. And,
It's positively tied to the nodes, which is the karmic direction. So it's being of benefit to karmically moving forward, we could say.
Yeah, I like this. I like this this moon phase because of that conjunction of Jupiter. It feels really supportive, and that after having 3 phases that are really about new beginnings and initiation, this is a phase where we get to kind of soothe ourselves a little bit, because change is scary. And so, taking care of yourself and being really gentle with yourself and giving yourself time to process any of these changes. And that's, I think, really helpful as well, given that it's conjunct the North Node. That's going to help us really integrate and move it forward in our lives.
It kind of has an unbelievable Sabian symbol, and it kind of harmonizes with what you said. So we would read 21 degrees Cancer, you move the moon forward the next degree, and the Sabian symbol is a famous singer proves her virtuosity. So singing your heart, right? Just being able to sing, and all the techniques are there, and you can just sing.
And the emotion with that's beautiful. Yeah.
And it's so primal. We think of humming like a parent to a child. It's a or just working too.
Singing is also, it's a really good way to get into your heart and to like drop into your heart and out of your head. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that. Like creating like a really heart-centered ritual for yourself so that you're tuning to that, because that's where we want to be, right? Is really in our hearts as we're moving forward and creating whatever this new thing is. If we're creating it from our hearts, then we know it's going to be good.
Ooh, wow. I'm suddenly looking at this and realizing that Venus is at that 29 degrees Virgo point that we're just coming through this whole solar eclipse, because as we're talking about music, I was thinking, well, Venus has a lot to do with music, and so does Neptune, and Pisces. I just think of how supportive music is for me as an individual. I don't know if I could live without it.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't have to. I mean, and I don't mean to go on too much, but the birds sing, the ocean sings, there's the trees.
If you have like a friend or somebody that says, hey, you got to hear this song, I think what they're actually saying is, hey, this is what my soul feels. Because that's how much music touches people. So if they're willing to share a song that they really like, it's like, well, they're really letting you know a little bit about themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. I love this. Venus is at the same degree as the solar eclipse in this third quarter moon. And so this has been that journey of Venus all the way through Virgo, where it's been letting go in the previous 2 phases. And now here it is at this same point of the solar eclipse, ready to shift into that new initiation that this eclipse is bringing forward.
I like your reminder that it's covered a whole path. I mean, it's little by little. And the fact that early on she was relating closely with Mercury. They were in each other's signs. So right now that's happening. So they have a lot of communication. And so we're thinking about about the plans. I mean, it's a lot of mentality, but yet she's finished the job. She's working on the job. It's not letting us.
Yeah, and one other thing, it's Venus is trine Uranus here. So in the last two phases, we were all about letting go. This is about ushering in the new, and that Uranus is just, it's there to really help us see things with a new perspective. Uranus in Gemini is about thinking about things differently, and like what is out there, how can we think about something completely differently from how we've been living our lives, and how can that benefit who we are inside, our self-worth, our potential, and then have that blossom out into our relationships.
Uranus is also saying in Gemini, look at all of these great ideas. There's so many things to choose from, right?
And I'm thinking with Venus at 29 degrees, which happened to be the solar eclipse that we're mentioning, of course, on the 21st. On the 22nd, the sun went into the equinox, which is another powerful point at 0 degrees Libra. And at that point, which is probably the next day after this, Neptune is exactly opposite Neptune, and it makes that kite. When anything at 0 degrees Libra forms this kite, this energy, this special energy. So we have one now with the South Node, but it's going to shift over to Saturn, and from the nodes to Saturn and Neptune with Uranus, and then Venus with Venus. Meaning,
I mean, really, Uranus, Pluto, Neptune, Saturn are all touching Venus in this third quarter. And so there is a lot of potential for big shifts to happen, or even new people to come in that are going to help us on this 6-month solar eclipse journey that we're on.
Oh, well, let's see what the next slide says. Okay. We have here action, strong but helpful action. John.
Well, again, that moon Jupiter is trine the nodes again, which is just the benefit to the journey, I have nothing else to add to that, I guess. There you go.
Well, it is, because it's working between it's the sun,
what you can
we
feel,
are trying to include everything, and it's also the apex to Thales, right? I mean, it's like the apex point that's saying the destiny point. Hey, it's emotion still in Cancer.
The Cancer, it's like, so the feeling emotionally what you need to do, or having an intuitive gut instinct about what needs to happen to be on your karmic journey, I guess I'm trying to think of.
And out of bounds. I mean, it's still going to be, oh boy.
I really like Saturn here conjunct the North Node. Saturn having retrograded back into Pisces. It's like our last chance to work on these Pisces pieces for ourselves. And Saturn it wants us to do the work. And so when we've got it in Pisces, there can be ambiguity that we have to deal with. And so it's learning how to deal with the ambiguity and the confusion and maybe the fogginess, and just doing it with the most maturity and boundaries, like good boundaries for ourselves. And so here, conjunct the North Node. Well, it's almost conjunct the North Node. It's getting there.
Oh, it's okay. It's what?
It's 9 degrees ish.
Yep, and that's easy.
Yeah,
it is conjunct.
I think of the North Node as also being kind of hard to hear against the South Node's scream of do it this way. You're used to doing it this way, and the North Node's like whispering, try this. And if it's in Pisces, it might be even a little bit harder to hear, to get that antenna. So, or maybe Saturn is saying, really try to tune into that antenna.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the moon and Jupiter, going back to that, which is with our relationships as far as the nation goes, which in our own charts, it would be wherever we have Cancer. But it wants to make new stories. It's Cancer. That's one of the beautiful things about the moon and Cancer, it takes our emotions and it makes a story. But if we have different information or different priorities or whatever it might be, new events or new information we've discovered, but here it's highly motivated. It's trying to make a big belief system out of its emotions.
And that's really supportive to mastery of this Saturn cycle for us. It's really because it's got that trine, right? It's so there's this piece about feeling into our emotions, and how is that helping us to tune to our sensitivity with more ease and greater understanding that Saturn is trying to teach us.
Gee whiz. Well, I think we can chat here. We have, what do you think, an overall, which we've been doing, but my goodness, she is the goddess with the wheat, which we were talking about Ceres, but Virgo is very much the Eleusinian mysteries, the rebirth of the early goddess of the whole mythology. I often think Aries, of course, begins the zodiac, but Kabbalah and beliefs think of Libra, because that's when we enter our partnerships and we come in relationship. So here we're having that. Mm-hmm.
Virgo is said to be the goddess of Straya, who's, I think, a goddess of justice from the Greeks. So there's an element of justice tied into Virgo. What is the right thing to do? Ask Virgo all the time.
Yes. The blind justice. That's supposed to be blind so that you're not favoring somebody or something.
And it's next door to Libra, which is the scales of justice. You're in that time of the year where all that comes up. It's really interesting.
Yeah, those
scales. Equal day and night. It's the equal day and night. It's the fall.
Yes, at equilibrium where the whole world is at a balancing point. Libra, of course, used to be the claws of the scorpion mythology, and then they shifted it over to Libra, which is the only the scales is not human. It's not an animal. It's just scales.
It was an animal. It used to be the claws of the scorpion, and they.
Oh, that's right.
They
took
them
that's
opposite. It'll be its own sign. Yeah.
Yeah,
Poor
that's
Scorpio
right.
doesn't really have claws.
Well, stinger.
That's true. Forgot about that.
Yeah, that's a stinger. It's like it has to be protective of somehow. It's like,
sure.
Well, all these elements, whether one rises to some occasion, and that's really what we're being asked to do, is to look bigger and broader. And what were we saying earlier about looking at other viewpoints?
Sure.
I think, yeah.
And having an open heart about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're allowing all of the expression to happen, they're expressing, and we're going to respect that and let them speak and hear how they're feeling. Right?
Yeah. It's a big month. It's an eclipse month, which is always big, but there's this sense of prepping for the new world order that we're going to be moving into, and a feeling of like, okay, we're starting the process of really cleaning out the rest of the junk, and then stepping into to claim more authenticity for ourselves.
I like the idea, the sound of, instead of new world order, maybe new world design.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, yes. And where is our place? And you can't foresee that. It's really a creative energy, step by step. It's like even our panel here has slightly evolved. We're talking more in conversation, where it's the whole focus. Sometimes it's a little foggy, but I guess if we feel right about it, it's that feeling. I think that's where that Cancer moon comes in. How do you feel about things?
That Cancer moon and that Jupiter in Cancer that
we're
in the
benevolent
whole year. Mm-hmm.
Well, Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Amanda Pierce and John Chinworth. Such a treat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good to be here for another month. Excited
Yeah.
to see how this all plays out.
I know. And we will return, but folks, may your strength find you choosing what feels good for you throughout this month. And we'll work with our Virgo Solar Eclipse as an aftermath into the Renaissance ahead. Thank you.
Thank you for joining an insightful conversation on Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests awaken consciousness by connecting soul growth patterns with astrology's energetic cycles. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.